My wife once mocked me in front of her friends, laughing and saying, "He's awful in bed." She thought she was humiliating me. Instead, it completely blew up in her face when her best friend burst out laughing and said, "Actually, he's amazing." What was supposed to be a simple anniversary dinner turned into a public execution of our marriage. And by the end of the night, she was the one exposed. So, yeah, grab some popcorn. Everything went down on a Friday night at our place. It was our anniversary, and Cara insisted on hosting. Not because she wanted something intimate. She wanted an audience. She loved showing off her friends. 5 couples packed into our dining room. Expensive drinks flowing. Everyone pretending to be fascinated by each other's boring lives. I'm Reed, 34. I was sitting next to my wife, Cara, 32, who I'd been married to for 4 years. I was on my second glass of soda. I wanted to stay sharp. Something told me I might need to. At some point, someone asked how we kept the spark alive after all these years. Cara laughed. That loud, performative laugh she uses when she thinks she's being charming, but really just sounds obnoxious. "The spark with Reed?" she said, waving her glass at me so hard I thought she'd spill it. "Oh, let me tell you about her love life." I felt it coming. That familiar dread. The thing she does when she's had too much to drink and wants attention at someone else's expense. "Reed's idea of foreplay," she continued, "is asking if I'm ready yet." The table laughed. I mean, like 30 seconds of asking. Then it's just mechanical, like he's following IKEA instructions or something. More laughter. I took a sip of soda. Said nothing. She kept going. Seriously, it's the same routine every time. Same everything. I could set a timer. She leaned back, enjoying herself. 2 minutes of kissing if I'm lucky, then straight to business for exactly, and I mean exactly 4.5 minutes. She even used her hands to illustrate it. And then he's done. Just asked if I want to watch TV. Her friend Monica was laughing so hard she had tears in her eyes. The guys at the table were laughing too, but that awkward kind. The kind where you're not sure if you're supposed to join in or defend the guy getting roasted. I stayed stone-faced. Let her talk. Every word she said was another nail in a coffin she didn't even realize she was building. Then she leaned in like she was sharing a secret. Still loud enough for everyone to hear. He thinks he's good. Like, genuinely believes he's doing something for me. She smirked. Bless his heart. That's when Sloan spoke. Sloan, Cara's best friend since college, was sitting across from us. She calmly set down her glass. "That's funny," she said casually, "because Reed is actually incredible in bed." Silence. The kind where you can hear your own heartbeat. Everyone froze. Cara's face went from tipsy amusement to confusion to absolute fury in about 2 seconds. "Excuse me," Cara said, her voice suddenly ice cold. Sloan shrugged and took a sip of her drink. "Just saying, from personal experience, he's definitely not following any IKEA instructions." I still didn't say a word. Just took another sip of soda and watched my wife's brain try to process what just happened. Honestly, it was better than anything I could have planned. Monica's mouth was hanging open. One of the husbands coughed awkwardly. No one knew where to look. Cara stared at Sloan like she was about to leap across the table. Then she looked at me, then back at Sloan. "You're joking," Cara snapped. "Nope," Sloan said with a small smile. "Sorry to contradict your story, but facts are facts. Before you think I'm some cheating scumbag, let me rewind. Because that dinner, that was the endgame, the final move, and it was beautiful. To understand it, you need to know how we got there. Cara and I dated for 2 years before getting married. In the beginning, things were good. She was ambitious, driven, funny. I liked that she knew what she wanted. I was 28, running logistics for a mid-sized manufacturing company. Solid 6-figure income, good benefits. She was 26, working at a consulting firm. Decent pay, nothing wild. Over time, something changed. She got promoted twice. Made maybe 15 grand more than when she started. And suddenly, she acted like she was a breadwinner. Like I wasn't her partner anymore. I became her assistant. Her errand boy. The guy who handled the boring parts of life. so she could focus on her career, her friends, and whatever else mattered that week. I did the grocery shopping, the cooking, the cleaning. I planned our social calendar around her schedule, showed up to her work events, smiled while she treated me like a prop. And yeah, our sex life sucked. Not because I didn't try, because she treated it like a chore, something to get done and move on from. 3 weeks before that dinner, everything changed. Cara left her phone on the kitchen counter while she was in the shower. It buzzed. I wasn't snooping. I just glanced. The notification was from a guy named Jared at work. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Wear that black thing again. Jared, a co-worker she'd mentioned before. The guy she was always working late with. I picked up the phone, opened the messages. 6 months worth. Texts, photos, plans, hotel reservations. But the cheating wasn't what hurt the most. It was what she said about me. Jared, when are you going to leave him? Cara, I don't know. He's useful. Does everything around the house. Doesn't complain. It's like having a really obedient roommate who pays half the bills. Jared, doesn't sound like much of a husband. Cara, he's not. He's boring as hell. Personality of a wet towel. Cara, he's a placeholder. Until I figure out what I actually want. Cara, he's so easy to manipulate. Like being married to a golden retriever. Cara, I settle for him because he was stable. That's literally it. Cara, the sex is genuinely awful. I fake everything. Last time I reorganized my closet in my head while he was going at it. I read everything. Screenshotted it all. Sent it to myself. Deleted the sent messages from her phone. Then I made breakfast. Acted like nothing happened. The following Monday, I called a lawyer on my lunch break. Wednesday, we met. No kids. Clear proof of adultery. Most assets protected. House was mine from before marriage. My car was paid off and in my name. Joint account had about $8,000. The lawyer said I was in a very strong position. I told him I wanted to move fast. We spent the next 2 weeks preparing, filing paperwork, locking accounts, changing passwords, making copies of everything. Cara had no idea. She came home every night, complained about work, ate the dinners I cooked, went to bed. Meanwhile, I was quietly dismantling our marriage while she was too busy texting Jared to notice. And then there was Sloan. Cara and Sloan had been friends since college. The kind of competitive friendship where they're always trying to one-up each other. Cara got the better job. Sloan got the hotter boyfriend. Cara got married first. Sloan threw the bigger engagement party. Back and forth. For years. Which is why that moment at the table. That wasn't an accident. That was karma showing up on time. And Cara never saw it coming. About a year ago, Cara stole a client from Sloan. The kind of competitive friendship where they're always trying to one-up each other. Cara got the better job. Sloan got the hotter boyfriend. Cara got married first. Sloan threw the bigger engagement party. Back and forth. For years. Which is why that moment at the table. That wasn't an accident. That was karma showing up on time. And Cara never saw it coming. About a year ago, Cara stole a client from Sloan. They worked at competing firms. And Cara deliberately poached a massive account right before Sloan was about to close it. The deal would have earned Sloan a promotion and a 6-figure commission. Losing it cost her both. Sloan never forgave her. She smiled to Cara's face, played nice in public. But behind the scenes, she was quietly waiting for the right moment. That moment came 2 weeks ago. It was a Thursday morning when Sloan called me. Not texted, called. That alone told me something was wrong. "Can you meet me?" she asked. Her voice had an edge to it. Urgent. No small talk. We met at a diner 2 blocks from my office. When I arrived, she was already there, sitting in a booth with an untouched cup of coffee, looking like she was sitting on a live grenade. "You're going to want to sit down for this," she said. I sat. She pulled out her phone, scrolled for a second, then stopped and looked me straight in the eye. "I ran into Melissa yesterday." I nodded. "From Cara's old job?" "Yeah. She still talks to people at the firm, including Cara." Sloan leaned forward. She told me something about Cara and the guy she's been seeing. I kept my face completely neutral. Go on. She studied me for a moment, then nodded slowly. So, it wasn't a question, I said. How long? Couple of weeks, she replied. Found texts on her phone. And you didn't say anything? I've been watching, gathering information. I met her gaze. What did Melissa tell you? Sloan's expression hardened. Everyone at the firm knows. They joke about it at happy hours, like it's some cute office romance. She paused. But that's not why I called you. I waited. Melissa overheard Cara on the phone 2 weeks ago, in the parking garage, talking to a divorce attorney. That got my attention. She's filing. I asked. Not yet. She's waiting. Sloan slid her phone across the table and showed me the notes Melissa had sent her. She wants you to take that director promotion first, the one with the massive pay increase. Then she's filing, so she can maximize what she gets in the settlement. Everything snapped into focus at once. Her sudden interest in my career, the way she kept asking about the compensation package, how excited she got when I mentioned equity options, her urgency about accepting before the end of the year. She wasn't being supportive. She was setting the table. When exactly did she call the lawyer? I asked. 2 Tuesdays ago in the morning, Sloan said. Melissa was grabbing something from her car and heard the whole conversation. Sloan's jaw tightened. Cara told the lawyer to have everything ready, but not to file until she gives a word. Said she needed a few more weeks to lock things down. Lock things down. Like I was a bank account she was cracking open. And the affair? I asked. Since May, Sloan said. Hotels on Wednesdays. Sometimes Friday lunches that turn into afternoon disappearances. She looked disgusted. Everyone knows. They laugh about it. I nodded slowly and let the rage settle somewhere cold and useful. I'd suspected the affair had been going on longer than the text suggested. Now I knew for sure. And the divorce plan explained everything that hadn't made sense over the past month. Thank you, I said quietly, for telling me. What you would do? She asked. I looked at Sloan. Really looked at her. She had driven across town to warn me. She could have stayed out of it. Could have let me walk into the trap blind. She didn't. Even after Cara spent years freezing her out and turning mutual friends against her. I'm going to burn it all down, I said. And I need your help. Sloan smiled, sharp and mean. What do you need? Cara came home that night around 7. Humming. Actually humming. Her hair was still wet from a shower. She definitely didn't take it to the gym. Hey, babe, she said brightly, kissing my cheek like nothing was wrong. How was your day? Good, I said. Productive? That's great, she replied, dropping her bag on the counter and launching into a story about a meeting she absolutely did not have. I watched her lie to my face with the ease of someone who's done it hundreds of times. When she finally stopped talking, I stood up and walked toward her. She looked surprised when I pulled her close. What's this for? She asked. Just felt like it. I said, what happened next wasn't about love. It was about taking back something she thought she could trade away and still keep. Every movement was deliberate, calculated. I watched her face the entire time, memorizing every expression. When she fell asleep afterward, content, satisfied, guilt-free, I stayed awake, staring at the ceiling, thinking about Sloan, about Melissa, about all the people at that firm who knew my wife was cheating on me and thought it was entertainment. I thought about the divorce papers, sitting ready, the lawyer, the plan to wait until my promotion came through, so she could cash out bigger. She wanted to play the long game. Fine. So would I. Friday morning, Cara was in the best mood I'd seen in months. Singing in the shower, carefully choosing her outfit for dinner, like it mattered. I'm so excited for tonight, she said. Finally introducing you to everyone. Yeah, I said, should be interesting. She had no idea Sloan had already texted me 3 times that morning. No idea I'd sent Sloan screenshots, messages where Cara called her pathetic, washed up, jealous. Sloan now knew everything. The timeline, the hotels, the lawyer. She didn't just want to help anymore. She wanted blood. Cara kissed me goodbye and told me she loved me. I watched her walk out the door, still humming, still performing. I spent the day finalizing everything. Signed a lease on a new apartment. Scheduled movers for Saturday. Pulled half the joint savings and moved it into an account in my name. Changed every password. Backed up every file. Packed a bag and put in my trunk. I called my boss and turned down the promotion. Told him I needed time to think about my next steps. He was confused, but understanding. Cara was planning to file expecting a huge payout. She was going to get pennies. By the time I got dressed for dinner that night, I was already gone, financially, emotionally, legally. I'd be out by Sunday. She just didn't know it yet. And the look on her face when she found out? Priceless. Back at the dinner table, the silence after Sloan's comment lasted maybe 3 seconds. Then Cara exploded. "What?" she shouted, jumping up so fast her chair scraped across the floor. "What did you just say?" Sloan stayed calm. Took another sip of her drink, like she commented on the weather. "Reed's great in bed," she said. "Thought you should know, since you were sharing inaccurate information." Cara's face went from red to purple. "You're lying," she screamed. "You're a jealous, pathetic liar, and you've always—" "June 14th, Sloan interrupted calmly. "While you were at that conference in Miami." She tilted her head slightly. "Your bed, the one with the gray sheets you're so proud of." I watched Cara's brain short-circuit in real time. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish. Then she turned to me, eyes wild. "Reed," she said, "tell me she's lying." I shrugged and took a sip of soda. "She's not." The table erupted. Monica gasped. One of the guys muttered, "Holy hell." Someone knocked over a glass, and no one moved to clean it up. Cara was shaking. You cheated on me," she whispered. "Yep," I said, leaning back in my chair. And that was when everything finally collapsed. "Same week you were in Miami," I said calmly. "With Jared. From work." Her eyes flicked wildly. "How is Jared, by the way?" I added, "Still sending you those cute good morning texts?" Her face drained of color, then flushed red, then went pale again. It was like watching a broken traffic light glitch in real time. How did you get my phone?" she stammered. I pulled out my own phone and opened the screenshots. "You left it on the counter 3 weeks ago." I said. I read everything. All of it. 6 months worth. I scrolled slowly. Hotels. Pictures. You calling me a placeholder. A golden retriever. Saying my personality is like a wet towel. I paused and smirked slightly. "Oh, here's a good one. You told him you were mentally reorganizing your closet during sex because I was so boring." Cara lunged for my phone. I pulled it back. "I also found out about your divorce lawyer." I continued evenly. "The one you hired 2 weeks ago. The plan to wait until I took that promotion so you could maximize what you got in the settlement." I smiled, but there was nothing kind about it. Smart plan. Would have worked too if Melissa hadn't overheard you in the parking garage. Monica shot up from her chair. "I think we should go," she said quickly. "Yeah," one of the husbands muttered, already grabbing his jacket. "This feels really private." They scattered like roaches when the lights come on. Chairs scraped. Awkward goodbyes. Nobody made eye contact. In under 2 minutes, the entire apartment was empty, except for Sloan. She stayed seated, glass in hand, watching everything like she was at the theater. Cara waited until the door closed. Then she turned on me like a cornered animal. "You have no right," she hissed. "After what you just admitted. You slept with my best friend." "Former best friend," Sloan corrected calmly from the table. "And you had no problem sleeping with Jared for 6 months?" I shot back. "While I cooked your dinners, did your laundry, showed up to your work events like a trained dog, while you told him I was useful, a placeholder, a roommate who pays bills. That's different." Cara screamed. "How?" I asked. She sputtered. Actually sputtered. Because I was going to leave you anyway," she yelled. "I was planning to take everything once your promotion came through." "Yeah," I said calmly. "I know." I stood up. "But here's the thing, Cara." Her eyes locked onto mine. "I turned down the promotion yesterday." Her face did something I'd never seen before. Total system failure. You what? I turned it down, I said. Told my boss I needed time to think about my career path. I walked into the kitchen, opened a drawer, grabbed a folder, came back, and dropped on the table. Divorce papers. Already filed. She stared at it. You'll get the official notice Monday. I added, but I figured, why wait? Her hands shook as she grabbed the folder and flipped through the pages. You're taking the house, the car, everything. Everything that's mine, I said. The house was mine before we got married. Cars are titled to me. Joint accounts already split. You get half of that. About $4,000. Everything else was separate. I sat back down. You'll leave this marriage with exactly what you brought into it, which was basically nothing. She looked up at me, eyes filling with tears. The manipulative kind. The one she used when she wanted something. Read, baby, she whispered. We can fix this. I made mistakes. We can go to counseling. I love you. You don't, I said flatly. You love what I did for you. The free labor, the emotional support, the stability. But you don't love me. You said it yourself. Boring, predictable, placeholder. I didn't mean, yes, you did. I stood again. And honestly, I don't care anymore. I'm done. You need to leave. She stared at me, stunned. This is my house, too. It's my house, I said. My name's on the deed, and I want you out tonight. You can't just kick me out. Actually, I can, I replied. My lawyer will confirm it. Since it's my property, and we're legally separated as of this afternoon, I can ask you to leave. You've got family 20 minutes away. Go stay with your mom. Her face twisted into something ugly. You're really doing this over one mistake? 6 months isn't one mistake, I said calmly. It's a lifestyle choice. I pointed to the door. Get your stuff. Go. That's when she snapped. She lunged at Sloan. I mean lunged. Full-on psycho charge across the dining room, arms out like claws, screaming something completely incoherent about betrayal. I caught her halfway, grabbed her arms, and held her back as she thrashed. Let me go, she screamed. That bitch ruined my marriage. You ruined your marriage, I said evenly, even as she tried to kick me. Sloan just told the truth. Cara twisted, yanked one arm free, and swung at Sloan, missed by a mile. Sloan didn't even flinch. You planned this. Cara screamed at her. You too planned this to humiliate me. Actually, Sloan said calmly, I just answered a question honestly. The humiliation was all you. Cara let out a wordless scream. Pure rage. The mask was gone. Completely. This was who she really was. I walked her to the door. She fought the entire way, yelling about lawyers, revenge, how I'd regret this. I opened the door with one hand, still holding her with the other, and shoved her into the hallway. Go, I said. Now. This isn't over, she screamed. You hear me? This isn't. I shut the door in her face, locked it, leaned against it as she pounded on the other side, screaming. Then silence. Footsteps. Elevator ding. Gone. I turned around. Sloan was still sitting at the table, looking way too comfortable. You should probably go too, I said. She raised an eyebrow. Seriously? Yeah, seriously. After I helped you? After I gave you everything you needed? I appreciate it. I said honestly, starting to clear glasses. But let's not pretend you did it for me. You did it because you hate Cara. She stood and smoothed her dress. Can it be both? Sure, I said. Either way, you need to leave. She stepped closer. Did that thing women do when they think they're being seductive. Hand on my arm. Head tilted. Small smile. We could have fun, she murmured. Just the two of us. No drama. No ex-wives. Her fingers traced down my forearm. I looked at her hand. Then her face. She really thought this was going somewhere. Sloan. I said, I'm not interested. Her smile faltered. Oh, come on. Don't pretend you haven't thought about it. I haven't. Liar, she said, pressing closer. We both know there's something here. I stepped back and set the glasses on the counter. There's nothing here, I said. You came tonight to watch Cara burn. Mission accomplished. Now it's time to go. She laughed, but there was an edge to it. Oh, please. You loved having me here. You loved watching her face when I backed you up. I did, I said. Doesn't mean I want you to stay. Her expression shifted. Less flirty. More calculating. She stepped in again, hands sliding up my chest. Let me stay, she said. We can celebrate properly. I grabbed her wrist. Not rough, but firm and final. No, I said. Sloan blinked. Why not? She's gone. You won. I shook my head. We didn't win anything together. She frowned. You showed up uninvited. You stirred the pot because you enjoyed it. And now you think that means something. I released her wrist and stepped back. It doesn't. She stared at me, eyes hard. Then something shifted, embarrassment creeping in, tangled with anger. The look people get when they realize they completely misread the room. Wow, she said slowly. You're actually serious. Dead serious. She scoffed. You know what? You're just like her. You use people when it's convenient, then toss them aside. Maybe, I said calmly, but at least I'm honest about it. I walked to the door and opened it. Thanks for showing up tonight. It worked out perfectly, but this is where it ends. She grabbed her purse, movement sharp now, angry. She walked toward the door, stopped right in front of me, and glared. You're going to regret this. Doubt it, I said, meeting her eyes. You came here to feel powerful by destroying your former best friend. You got what you wanted. So, did I. Now we're done. She left without another word. I closed the door, locked it, stood alone in my apartment, surrounded by half-empty glasses and ruined dinner plates, and smiled. It was the first real smile I'd had in months. The next 3 days were chaos. Cara blew up my phone. Texts, calls, voicemails. The messages started angry, shifted to desperate, then swung right back to furious. I blocked her Saturday morning. She showed up Sunday and pounded on the door for 20 minutes straight, while I sat inside watching football with noise-canceling headphones on. Building security eventually escorted her out. Monday morning, I got an email from her lawyer. Standard aggressive nonsense. My lawyer replied with evidence of adultery, and the prenup clause she'd apparently forgotten existed. Radio silence. I went back to work that week like nothing had happened. Did my job. Kept my head down. Nobody knew yet, and that suited me just fine. Then the following Tuesday, I got a call from Jason, one of the guys who'd been at the dinner. Dude, he said, you hear about Cara? What about her? She got fired. Like, escorted out of the building yesterday. I sat up straighter. What? Yeah, don't know all the details, but HR got some kind of anonymous tip. Something about her breaking company policy. I didn't say anything for a moment. You think it's related? Jason trailed off. Probably, I said. I thanked him and hung up, staring at my phone. Someone had sent HR proof of the affair, and I had a pretty good idea who. Sloan called me the day after Cara got fired. She sounded almost giddy. I sent everything to HR, she said proudly. Dates, screenshots, hotel receipts, all of it. They fired her on the spot. Jared, too. There was a pause, like she was waiting for praise. I thought you deserved some justice, she added when I didn't respond. After everything she put you through, we make a good team, don't we? Like this was some kind of partnership now. Turns out Cara used a brag to Sloan back when they were still friends. Screenshots, hotel photos, the whole affair. She thought it was exciting. Thought Sloan would be impressed. Sloan kept copies just in case. Then Cara ran her mouth at that dinner, called Sloan pathetic, tried to humiliate her in front of everyone. Bad move. Sloan waited a week, then dropped everything into HR's inbox. I laughed. I couldn't help it. The whole thing was absurd. She actually thought this made us allies. Yeah, I said. Okay, we're done here. Sloan, wait, what? I hung up, blocked her number, moved on. Company policy banned employees from dating, especially within the same reporting chain. Cara and Jared were both gone within 24 hours. But it didn't stop there. 2 weeks later, Jason called again. Dude, you're not going to believe this. What now? That guy Cara was seeing? Someone told his wife. I almost laughed. Seriously? Yeah, anonymous email. Everything, photos, messages, hotel records. She lost it. Posted the whole thing on Facebook last night. I sat there listening. It's everywhere, Jason continued. His family is blowing up the comments. People from work are sharing it. The guy is getting destroyed. Sloan hadn't just gone after Cara. She went after both of them. The Facebook post stayed up for 3 days before the wife took it down. By then it didn't matter. Screenshots were everywhere. His parents stopped speaking to him. His wife filed for divorce. Meanwhile, Cara was scrambling to find a new job. Good luck with that. When your former employer fired you over an affair and half your professional network watched it implode. By the end of the second month, the dust had mostly settled. The divorce was moving forward. Cara's career was toast. Her affair partner's marriage was over. His reputation was wrecked. Then came Wednesday. I got home around 6, reheating leftover pizza, when someone started banging on my door. Not knocking. Banging. The kind that says someone's having a very bad day and wants you to share it. I checked the peephole. Cara and Sloan, together, screaming at each other in my hallway. This was going to be good. I opened the door and immediately regretted not grabbing popcorn. You ruined my life. Cara screamed before I could say a word. You got me fired. You destroyed everything. I didn't get you fired. I said calmly. You did. By sleeping with a co-worker for 6 months. HR just connected the dots. You sent those emails. Actually, I said, glancing at Sloan, I didn't. She did. Sloan's face turned red. You told her? I didn't have to, I said. Basic logic. I leaned against the doorframe. So what brings you both here? Starting a support group for women I'm done with? That's when they turned on each other. This is your fault. Cara shoved Sloan hard. You couldn't just stay out of it. My fault. Sloan shoved back. You're the one who cheated on your husband and bragged about it. You slept with him after cheating for 6 months. They were nose to nose now. I stepped back into my apartment and leaned against the wall. This was better than TV. You've always been jealous of me, Cara hissed. Always wanted my life. My job. My husband. I don't want your leftovers. Sloan shot back. I just wanted to watch you fall. You're pathetic, Cara sneered. That's why you can't keep a man. They all leave you. Wrong thing to say. Sloan's fist came out of nowhere, connected with Cara's mouth with a crack like a snapping branch. Cara stumbled back into the hallway wall, clutching her face. When she pulled her hand away, it was bloody. Her bottom lip was already swelling. You chipped my tooth. Cara shouted, now with a very obvious lisp. You chipped my freaking tooth. I lost it. I laughed so hard I had to grab the doorframe to stay upright. Both of them turned and stared at me like I'd grown a second head. And honestly, it was worth every second. Do you think this is funny? Cara demanded. There was blood on her lip. Her hair was a wreck. Mascara streaked down her cheeks. She looked like a raccoon that had just lost a fight with a lawnmower. I wiped my eyes. Honestly, funniest thing I've seen all year. Maybe ever. Something broke in her expression. The rage drained out, replaced by pure desperation. She turned toward me, hands out like she was pleading for mercy. Please, she said. The lisp made it sound ridiculous. Please, we can fix this. I made a mistake. I want you back. I just stared at her. You're kidding, right? I'm serious, she said, tears spilling now, real tears. I messed up. I know I did, but we can work through this. Counseling. I'll do whatever it takes. I started laughing again. Cara, you got fired for sleeping with a coworker. You're about to lose your house. You just got punched in the face by your former best friend. At what point in this disaster did you think, yeah, he's definitely going to want to rebuild this dumpster fire? But I love you, she said. The swelling in her lip made the lisp even worse. I never stopped loving you. You loved me so much you were planning to leave me for Jared. After taking half my money. Sloan had been quiet up until then. Now she stepped forward. He doesn't need you anymore, Cara, she said. He needs someone who actually appreciates him. Oh no, here we go. Someone like you? I asked flatly. Yes, Sloan said, moving closer. Like me, we have chemistry. You felt it. I know you did. Chemistry? I laughed. Sloan, you slept with me to get revenge on your friend. That's not chemistry. That's spite with benefits. It was more than that, she insisted, touching my arm. And you know it. I stepped back. I could make you happy, she said. I deserve you more than she ever did. This was unreal. Both of them stood there in my hallway. One with a busted lip and a lisp, the other with a scratch across her cheek. Both tried to convince me to choose them. Let me get this straight, I said slowly. Cara, you cheated on me, lied to me, used me for rent, money, and emotional support while planning to leave me. And now you want me back because your life fell apart. Yes, Cara said miserably. And Sloan, I continued, you pretended to be my friend, slept with me specifically to hurt Cara, reported her to HR, and now you think you deserve a relationship with me. When you put it that way, Sloan said, it sounds bad. That's because it is bad. I said, throwing my hands up, you're both delusional. Certifiably delusional. I'm not getting back together with either of you. I wouldn't date either of you if you were the last two women on Earth and the human race depended on it. But, Cara started, no buts, no excuses, no second chances. I pointed down the hallway. I'm done with both of you forever. Get out of my building. That's when Cara grabbed Sloan by the hair. Sloan screamed and grabbed back. They went down in a tangle of limbs and designer clothes, rolling around on my hallway carpet like they were fighting over the last slice of pizza. I watched for about 10 seconds, committing this absolute masterpiece of chaos to memory. Then I pulled out my phone. All right, that's enough, I said, holding it up. I'm calling the cops. You got 5 seconds to get out of my building, or I'm pressing charges for assault, trespassing, and disturbing my leftover pizza. They untangled themselves, both breathing hard. Cara's lip was balloon-level swollen. Sloan now had a scratch across her cheek, and her blouse was torn. This isn't over, Cara said, trying to sound threatening through the lisp. Yeah, it is, I said, pointing down the hall. Get out, both of you. I don't want to see either of you ever again. Sloan stood first. She tried to smooth her hair and looked dignified. Failed completely. You'll regret this, she said. Doubt it. She walked toward the elevator without looking back, limping slightly, probably twisted her ankle during the fight. Cara lingered. She kept staring at me like she was waiting for something. An apology. A sign. Some indication I'd crack. And take her back like I always had before. I gave her nothing. I just stood there with my arms crossed, completely unmoved. Finally, she left too. One hand pressed to her mouth, the other wiping her eyes. I closed the door, locked it, added the chain for good measure. Then I went back to my pizza, reheated in the microwave, and replayed the entire scene in my head. You chipped my freaking tooth. I was still laughing when the microwave dinged. Best Wednesday ever. Guys, we are so close to hitting 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you're not subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. It really helps us reach that milestone.